Keep an eye out on those couple of sectors, but let's drill it down to a couple of stocks then. We have our research team that's standing by with CNBC-TV18's top list of stocks for the day. Well, Rima, you're tracking the big ones. You go first. Infosys and HCL Tech.
Well, the key takeaway from the IT earnings is now HCL Tech, Infosys, TCS, all three of them have reported a revenue beat. In fact, for HCL Tech, it's not just a revenue beat, but it's a margin beat as well. So HCL Tech strong, revenue and margin beat, while for Infosys, it's a revenue beat, but a margin miss. So if you stack up the numbers, you would see that all the three IT companies have reported a constant currency year-on-year revenue growth of more than 13%. In terms of topping the charts, it's HCL Tech, the highest at 5%, while Infosys constant currency revenue growth at 2.4% was ahead of TCS. Both Infi and TCS had missed the mark on margins. For Infosys, the margins were flat on a quarter-on-quarter basis, but HCL Tech's margins expanded by 165 basis points, coming in ahead of expectations. For Infosys, the big positive was the FY23 revenue guidance has been upgraded to 16 to 16.5%, and the deal wins were the best that we've seen in the last 8 quarters. For HCL Tech, the beat was driven by a seasonal strength in their software business, which is also called the products business. That will moderate in Q4, which is why the company has not changed its guidance. They've just narrowed it down. Now they're saying FY23 revenue growth will be between 13.5% to 14%, and the deal wins are flat for HCL Tech.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Rima. Another point, overnight, Cognizant, they revised their guidance and they also appointed a new CEO, Ravi Kumar, who held various portfolios at Infosys for close to around 20 years. So that one, in fact, was up close to around 6% overnight. Let's see whether or not the IT stocks can lead the way today. Well, let's move on to the next couple of stocks that are news. Well, Nimesh is joining us to tell us about Paytm. Large trade yesterday, Nimesh. You gave us some bit of a sense. What's your reading now?
Hi, Nigel. So there are two bits of news on Paytm to track today morning. One, of course, the big confirmation that Alibaba has sold a big chunk. So they've sold 1.9 crore shares, equivalent to 3% at an average price of 536. In terms of buyers, there are the names like Morgan Stanley Asia, which is a P-note, and Gesilo Master Fund. They were the big buyers in yesterday's block deal. Remember, Ant Financial, which is Alibaba's arm, they own close to 25% stake. So the supply overhang can continue in Paytm. Also, remember, in November, SoftBank sold close to 4.5% stake, and their lockup will open in the next few days. So there could be further threat of SoftBank selling the further stake. So that could be a further overhang on Paytm. On the other side, there was an official disclosure from the management of Paytm that they've bought some shares in the buyback. So yesterday they bought close to 19 lakh shares at an average price of 454. And until yesterday, which is 12th of January, they've cumulatively acquired close to 70 lakh shares in the buyback. So, while there is a buyback support from the management, there is supply overhang, which can keep the stock in pressure. And that's why I'll go with red in the morning.
All right, thanks a lot for that. So going with red on Paytm, let's move on. Abhishek is joining in. He's going to tell us why Shriram Finance could be in focus this morning. Abhishek, good morning.
Good morning, Sonia. So, Shriram Finance could be under pressure today as PE fund Apex Partners plans to sell shares via block deal. So, Apex Armed Dynasty acquisition will sell about 1.98 crore shares or up to 5.3% stake in the company. They will offer a 1% discount on the deal. Kotak Securities and IIFL Securities are the brokers to the deal. Deal size on the upward is about 2,578 crores, while the base deal size is about 1,226 crores. So in 2015, Apex had bought shares in Shriram City Union Finance, and post the merger in Shriram Finance, they have shares which will be sold in trade today. Back to you.
All right. Thanks very much for that. 1312 is where the stock closed yesterday. Now back to technology, and L&T Tech is the next one that we are talking about. Arima, back to you.
Thanks so much for that. So L&T Tech has agreed to acquire Smart World and Communication business of its parent company Larsen & Toubro. With this, LTTS will be able to expand its offerings in next-gen communication, sustainable spaces, and cybersecurity. But remember, this is a related party transaction, and a material one. Now, about the financials of this transaction, the company LTTS will be paying 800 crore rupees to L&T to acquire this business. But remember, LTTS has a lot of cash, close to about 2,400 crores as of Q2 end, September end. But so nearly 1/3 of the cash on LTTS books will be used to acquire this company. The acquired company's revenues are nearly 1,100 crore rupees, which is 16 to 17% of LTTS FY22 revenues, like to like. But there are some concerns which are flagged off by the analysts. One-third of the cash on LTTS books will be utilized for this intercompany, transaction. Two, the risk is margins of the acquired company could be lower because it's an India-based business, and a lot of the revenues come in from the government. Indian government appears to be a big client of SWC. So, those are some, issues which analysts have flagged off. But if you just purely look at the financials, they're paying 800 crore rupees for a company whose revenues are 1,100 crore rupees. So on the top line, the transaction value seems okay, but we need some clarity on what the margins are.
All right, thanks a lot for that. And of course, we'll be hearing from the management as well. Thanks, Rima. Let's go across to Surbhi now. She's tracking Anand, Rathi Wealth. They came out with their Q3 numbers. Surbhi, how did it look?
Anand Rathi Wealth reported their Q3 numbers and they were pretty decent. Their revenues were up 1.4% sequentially at 138 crores. Their EBITDA went up by 2.2% at 62 crores. The margins remained constant at 44%. Now the AUM that went up by 7.5% at 38,500 crores. The number of relationship managers was up by 2% at 277. Their active client families that went up by 3%, but their net client additions that was down 39% at 274 versus 451 in the previous quarter. They have revised their FY23 guidance. They say that the AUM is now going to be 40,000 crores versus 39,000 crores previously. They're going to clock a revenue of 525 crores versus 495 crores and a PAT of 165 crores versus 155 crores.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Surbhi. Well, Ekta's joining in as well to tell us about some more stocks in the news. Ekta?
Thanks for that. Well, I'll start with BCL, which is going to issue an allot around 55.8 lakh fully convertible warrants at 360 rupees per share, aggregating to 201 crores. Also, I'll be watching for a couple of these pharmaceutical stocks such as Lupin, Ajant, Cipla, Natco, because the US federal government has released 52,000 courses of the flu antiviral Tamiflu from the national stockpile simply because of the shortage that they're facing because of the heavy flu season that they're seeing. So it could possibly be a rub-off, positive rub-off for a couple of these companies that manufacture the generic version of the drug.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ekta, for that. So we'll keep an eye out on these companies. But here's a quick recap in case you missed out on any of the stocks. Stocks with positive news flow this morning. There's Infosys, HCL Tech, Anand Rathi Wealth, BCL Industries, Lupin, Cipla and Natco Pharma. While stocks with negative news flow, there's Paytm, Shriram Finance and L&T Tech. But let's go across now to Manisha Gupta to find out what's the latest in the world of commodities. Manisha, good morning.
Morning, and the gains here have just about continued, whether it's about crude or gold or base metal prices, all of that is trading in the positive, and we look like we are heading for a weekly gain for many of these commodities. I'll start with the crude oil prices, where we are trading at a 2-week high. Prices have gained for a 6th session, and prices did gain 1% overnight. There are the U.S. inflation numbers coming in on the weaker side, really supporting the precious metal prices also. So you have gold prices now trading at an 8-month highs, headed for a 4th weekly gain, and we are just inching close to that $1,900 per ounce mark. But very strong gains continuing in case of copper as well. This is the best weekly gain that we've seen in 2 months coming for copper prices also. Decline in inventories, decline in US dollar have been supportive factors here as well.
All right, Manisha, thanks very much for that. We'll, of course, keep coming back to you for what's happening on the commodity side. We'll take a break here. We are back with Anand Tandon, and there's lots to talk about, starting, of course, with the tech numbers, which we've got overnight, but so much more. Stay with us. Later, we also will have the management of Cyient, which reported numbers. Numbers came out, I think, the last hour of trade yesterday. So a discussion on the numbers and outlook going forward with the Cyient management.